This conference was very much intended to bring together decision makers, policy makers, researchers, academics, people working with the concept of resilience and putting it into practice in Southern Africa in order to deepen knowledge.
There's often a discrepancy or disconnect between what the community requires and how they view the problem and how the government people view the same problem.
Is it because our research instruments and methodologies and the way we package or unpack issues is actually not compatible to deal with these kind of things that we are beginning to get aware of more now than before?
So we've seen a situation in a region change quite dramatically in terms of the way development and humanitarian organizations are thinking about facilitating change. Resilience is increasingly a term that's been used. At the Center for Complex Systems and Transition, we work with that concept a great deal. And so we agreed to facilitate, to convene such a dialogue. And the idea was to choose quite carefully some of the key decision makers in the UN, in the African Union, in NEPAD in particular, but also in terms of some of the regional bodies such as SADC were invited. They unfortunately couldn't attend, but for example, 2 of the river basin commissions were able to send delegates. We had a number of government officials, South Africa, Botswana, somebody from Malawi. We had practitioners from Madagascar. And this combination of people who brought together very different experiences, very different knowledges, essentially could share, learn together and take those concepts and make it a little bit more real in terms of practice. Through establishing the network, we also wanted to lay the basis of a community of practice. So in other words, if there's value in the interaction, we want to be able to continue that over time. And we also want to understand what the gaps in knowledge may be so that we can seek the solutions, or rather the sources of those gaps in order to bring in for future work. So it's an ongoing process. Our key starting point is that there is not one form of knowledge that is more superior to another. And we are very aware that coming from a largely academic research center, often we are seen to have the solutions, whereas much of the real knowledge, the practice knowledge, the implementation knowledge is out there in the field. And we wanted to create an opportunity for these different forms of knowledge to essentially coalesce, to come together. So we use the term dialogue, which is essentially immersion. It's essentially about allowing flow of meaning to emerge over time and to allow those different knowledge sources essentially to be shared in a way that's very collaborative, very real. And so the design was intended to, first of all, raise concepts, to maybe stimulate debate, to lay a context, but to move quickly away from that type of knowledge into the practice knowledge. And so we set up a lot of space for interaction, for meaning making or shared meaning to emerge, for walks. We pulled in a learning journey, which is different to a field trip. It's about immersion into an issue or problem so that you see the problem firsthand, so that you're able to then apply those concepts in quite interesting ways. And then towards the end, a way of really trying to synthesize or weave together all of these different, so we say, stimulus points in order to allow something to emerge. So the design took us a long time, but we felt in the end it was the right way. Rather than having a formal conference program, this way was a lot about a series of conversations. The region's changed dramatically. Resilience potentially offers some form of way of working that's different. It's about transformation. I think it's very important for a center like ourselves to be engaged very directly with it.